All right, y'all. Mark here, cooking the books and bringing the info, taking a quick break. So I've been studying some calculus, and the reason for that is it all ties in to what I'm what I'm doing, what I'm researching. And if you guys been watching my videos, I'm all about self improvement. So uh, everything I study, it gears towards self improvement, how we can improve ourselves as a race, collectively. So in calculus, there's a formula or a mathematical equation that's called the initial value function or initial value, uh, yeah, initial value problem, initial value function, same difference. And this equation produces, right, what's called an unknown constant. Now, unknown is self explanatory, it's something that's not known. Constant is any value, right, or any number that is fixed. So there's an unknown constant that is produced by the initial value function, which is a mathematical formula in calculus. Now, why am I saying this is this? Very important because this is about personal, again, everything's about personal development, right? Personal development, personal improvement, growth and development. That's what I'm all about. How does this calculus problem tie into you and I becoming a better person or improving ourselves? It's very simple. This type of calculus is what's called a differential equation. Differential means this part of calculus breaks things down into very small parts and see how those small parts change over time from moment to moment. See how they change moment to moment. It measures their rate of change, which is called a derivative, the rate of change. And the reason why this is important to you and I is because the formula that I find in this, right? The formula or formulas or the expressions that I find in this, it ties into you and I personally. Because to find the solution for this equation, initial value function, it's called initial value function because in this equation there's something called an initial condition. You have to find the initial condition to solve the problem. To solve the problem. And the initial condition means you have to have a known point, right? You have to have a known point in order to find the solution to this equation. You have to know the origin. You have to understand the source. The initial condition is the smallest bit of information you're going to have about the problem in order to solve it. And in solving the problem, you're producing something called an unknown constant, which I just spoke about a second ago. And now let's tie that into real life. Let's tie that into you and I. First of all, math is called mathematical what? Problems, right? A calculus is a calculus problem, algebra problem. Ain't none of us in this world don't have problems in our lives. Many of us problems are internal. Like you are a walking, talking complexity yourself. And complexity is another term for problem that they use in calculus, right? So the complexity, most of us, all without exception, have some problem that we struggle with internally, right? So you see how I'm bringing this home, right? There's an internal problem in every single human being, right? A lot of us choose to ignore those problems or to act as if they don't exist or we're not aware of them, which is all the same thing. Well, ignoring is a little different. Ignoring, you know they're there, but you choose to, on your own volition, not to acknowledge them. Whereas unaware is you're just not aware they're there, but they're there. And if you're not aware that they're there, this in the initial value problem, this calculus problem, it produces an unknown constant. Now for you and I, how that applies is we have an unknown constant in our lives, right? The problem that is in your life, and it's in your mind, it's in your psyche, it's in your physical, your emotional, your spiritual, it's within you. So that problem that is within you produces what's called an unknown constant. Now, to solve the calculus problem, you have to get to the source of the unknown constant. You have to get to the given, you have to get to a known point. What catalyzed this event, right? What spurred this event? What encouraged it? Where the problem that you have in your life, where does it really stem from? In order to solve it, you have to get to the origin. And this is the calculus math, right? In order to solve the equation, you have to get to the initial conditions, which is the smallest bit of information about this equation is going to allow us to solve this problem. Now, it's very complex, right? Because then you're going to go into like variables and integrals and derivatives and all kind of other stuff. But it's not about the math so much. It's more so about the moral, right? The point that this math teaches us that in your life there is, you have a math problem on your school board or your paper or on your book, whatever. But you also have a personal problem that's in your life. And if you're human, you have a personal human problem. And instead of ignoring it or acting as if it doesn't exist or just living with it, coinciding with it, what we can do is use this formula that's found in calculus to solve that problem. You have to root out the initial, start with the initial conditions. Like, what is the initial conditions of the problem? And most often it has something to do with your childhood, some traumatic experience that you had in your childhood. Then in doing this, you start to unroot and dig up and find the unknown constant, right? That unknown constant is really the source of your problem. Because remember, a constant in terms of the mathematical expression is a number that's fixed. For you and I, a constant is something that is constant, is continuously in your being. It's continuously in your subconscious. It's because constant just means fixed. It means firm. It's something that's fixed, stayed. It's not going anywhere. It's constantly. It remains. So how you take that mathematical expression, a constant, and apply it to you personally is you got to ask yourself, what events do you constantly repeat in your life? What patterns are you constantly going through? Are you constantly going through financial hardships and difficulties? Then you need to figure out what is the unknown, right? That's creating that constant. Because the unknown in the calculus is a variable. It is represented by a letter, right? Or multiple letters. It could be X, it could be Y, it could be Z. And these letters are symbolic of something, right? So that's why it's called an unknown. It's a variable. But to take that and apply that to you personally, you got to ask yourself, what is the unknown that is inside of you? Because everything is within your mind. It's all in your mind. It's all there. The answers are there. The problems are there. The solutions are there. The equations are there. Everything is in your mind. Don't ever look outside. It's all inside. It's all internal, right? So you got to find the unknown, because in the math, in the calculus, you have to find these things, right? All of the formulas, all of the expressions, everything that you're working out, all of your workarounds and you're working out is to find the unknown constant. And that's how you're going to get to the solution. So when you take that and you apply it to your life, you got to find the unknown constant. What am I constantly repeating in my life, right? Whether it's, like I said, a financial situation, you're always, broke. You can never save, or you're always behind on your bills, or something, or you're always going into bad business relationships, right? You're always investing in bad companies. You're always investing in bad startups, and you got to find, okay. Or you're always drinking. Every time something goes wrong in your life, you turn to alcohol. Every time something goes wrong, you go into a fit of rage. You have these emotional outbursts and spurts, and you gotta. Okay, so those are the constants. All right, now you gotta find the unknown. Right, the unknown is what's creating the constants. Right, once you can get to the unknown, now you can understand why you keep repeating the constants. So now you got to find the unknown constant. To find the unknown constant and understand the unknown constant, you got to go to the initial conditions. And again, this is calculus, right? You have to go to your initial conditions. What is your initial conditions? Your initial conditions is your upbringing, right? Your early traumas, your early childhood traumas, your early experiences, your early betrayals, your early disappointments, all the stuff you experienced early, right? Did you acknowledge them? Did you confront them? Did you embrace them? Or are they buried? Are they tucked away in your storage, in your baggage, are they stored and baggaged and stockpiled somewhere in your subconscious thinking? And because you haven't, confronted them, embraced them, and dealt with them, they're producing the unknown constant in your life. So I'm about to get back to my research, and obviously I'm sitting here studying calculus, and I thought I'll just share some of that with y'all. So hopefully this information was somewhat useful. Till next time, y'all know what I'm doing, cooking books, bringing info. If you like it, you know what to do, leave a comment or subscribe, whatever, share it. Peace.